Hello there, Bic Benedict here. We're playing Uncharted 4, and this is my crushing difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on chapter 18 of 22. It is entitled New Devon. So this chapter has a large, well, it can be whatever you want. It can be a stealth encounter. It can be a gunfight. I would actually, I'm going to show you a great way to skip it, sneak through it. But I'm also going to recommend that if you think you're going to have a problem with the gunfight, that's secondary to this video, like the secondary objective. I would probably do the fight, collect all the grenades that you can, and max out your weapons. It's going to be up to you. If you want to bring a China Lake into the last fight, you can. I'm just going to be holding on to my custom as usual. Now, there are about 2 to 3 custom drops on this fight coming up. So since the weapon maxes out at 16, just those 2 or 3 drops might not get you up to 16, but whatever you have for the custom, it's going to be helpful on the chapter 20 fight to have a sniper rifle. So I would probably hold on to the custom if I were you. But if you want to, you're not going to need all 16 rounds for chapter 20. You might not even need half. So if you think you are going to have a problem, definitely pick up the China Lake, max that out, and then take that into the upcoming fight, and then just switch for the custom afterwards. So on this walkthrough, I mentioned that I was going to be emphasizing stealth. So there's been one variation that I have not done for stealth, and that is to sneak through an area without killing enemies. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing it. And also, I think the overarching issue is I don't like this fight. I don't like this encounter. I don't like the incorporation of the water over here. So there are some helpful videos about stealth on this part if you want to kill some enemies. I think I only killed one enemy just because I am trying to get a drop of a grenade, and I think you do get a grenade drop every time on this enemy here, even if Elena kills him, because there's one pickup of a grenade on the fight coming up. So if you have at least 3, there's one more for you coming up, and then that will max out your grenades. Over here, if you go through one of the windows, there's actually there's a tree branch overhanging this next passage, and it has the little rope around it, which is a signifier that you can use your rope for it. It only works though if you jump off of the sill and then press triangle. You can't do as I did right there. You have to jump off it like that, and then if you come up here, there's just one guy that you've got to sneak past. So I've seen some pretty convincing videos about doing that chapter that encounter pretty well with stealth. I've seen some videos of people killing just like 2 or 3 enemies they went the same way I did, but they killed a few enemies, and that's great. I mean, that's a good way, but you can also do it that way too, which is even simpler. So it's up to you. It really is. And I hope that you're not disappointed. I just don't care for it. We all do what we want to do. So I do think that the fight that's coming up though is incredibly difficult. And one of the main reasons is, for me personally, it's just the slow camera. Even with that max sensitivity, it's still too slow, and I just really don't enjoy the gunfighting on this game. I enjoy platforming and just climbing and jumping more than the shooting, and that's not usually how it is with me and Uncharted. I really enjoy the shooting in the other ones, even on brutal difficulty. This game on crushing is just not fun. It's just not fun. The shooting's not fun, and that's sad to say. Now, if you've played brutal, you might have not had fun either because it's so difficult, but I still think it's more fun than crushing on this difficulty. I'm sorry, on this game. I mean, that's just how I feel. I don't care for it. I really don't. That's why I always try to do stealth as much as possible. So coming up this fight, yeah, it is very difficult. It personally took me about an hour, and one of the main things that was slowing me down, I know it. It was I was trying not to use too much of my custom, so I was always holding back on that. And I'm gonna go to a familiar place of refuge on this next fight, because this fight is not a fight where you just go into cover and then move around a room and go to different places of cover, because that would be like Gears of War. And if this was Gears of War, I would be having a much more well, I would just be having more fun, honestly, but I would be having a better time overall. Aside from just having fun, I just would be feeling better about what I was doing in general if it was like Gears of War. Because that game is all a shooter, and it's fantastic, and the camera's the pinnacle of what a camera should be in that game. And so you have to take refuge basically, and since there's a couple of ultra heavies and different guys, there's a guy with there's a couple of guys with that really fast automatic assault rifle, and they're heavies too. And then near the end, you've got some. There's at least one guy with a China Lake, and then the spot that I'm going to show you is not completely safe, but it's probably the safest place that you can possibly go on this encounter. So it will require you to get up to a specific area, which is not easy to get up to. However, you can make it more easy. Sorry, by first of all, when the fight starts, there's an ultra heavy. So throwing a couple of grenades to get his helmet knocked off, you can then do a headshot on him and clear him up. And where he's at, there's about always, or it's a reliable thing that there's a group of enemies that you can cluster kill and get some really good kills on at first. They're right in front of you. So I usually like to use about 2 grenades on that group, and also that will get the ultra heavy to get his helmet off. With the custom, also, if you get a headshot, you can knock his helmet off too. So you could actually, if you did it like really skillfully, you could knock the helmet off the ultra heavy with one custom round, and then you can use your handgun to then get a headshot on his his unguarded head, and you could kill him with 2 shots. But that doesn't work out too often. Unfortunately, this part over here, you have to go through the motions of jumping off that thing first. I find that annoying. I really don't like that. I think it should be where you just wait at the edge for a laner to come over. If you know about it, you should be able to not have to go through the rigmarole of that. But anyway, the fight's gonna be starting pretty soon, and it's probably one of the harder fights. Definitely, there's always grenades getting thrown at you and things like that, and enemies with really powerful weapons. There's at least 2 guys that have the Barak. So that's a really strong weapon. I think it can instantly kill you if it's close enough. But you usually don't get instantly killed in this game, except if it's a sniper. But you need to watch out for that enemy, definitely. And it's just unsatisfying combat, in my opinion. And I think it really all has to do with the camera and the lack of being able to move it faster than you can, even though you put it on the maximum sensitivity. It's still just too slow. And that usually, for me, that will ruin a game instantly. Like, that will, if I start a new game, especially one that I've never played, I'm kind of hopeful about, that I might enjoy it. If I put the camera up and it's still too fucking slow, like that, like sometimes I won't play the game at that point. I won't even play the goddamn game. And I don't know why it's so difficult for developers to get that right, but we all have our own opinions of what's right, but I think the camera in Gears of War, that's the epitome of what a good camera should be. It's fast. It's just extremely fast, and it's just perfect. And you can get done what you want to get done with it. Okay, so here's the location of what really could be a horror show for you. There's the one grenade. They should at least put 2 grenades there. It'd be nice. A little bit more ammunition for our 45. So we don't have the ammunition maxed out for our custom, unfortunately. And there's not really too much to pick up before the fight. You might look around at some of the rooms, but I don't think that there's anything in the other rooms. I think there's just some things on the top and bottom of those stairs. So once you do interact with the door over here, I went the long way. I'm sorry about that. We're going to be going back up there. I think I might have had the intention of showing you where it was at first and then maybe going somewhere else, because I always go up there. But it got to the point where I just realized that it's much better to do it up there. And if I show people the fight up there, they'll have less problems. So that first cluster of enemies, like I said, it's right in front of you. So there's that ultra heavy right there. I apologize. I tried to just scope in that edit right there. Didn't look very good, but there's that cluster of enemies. So I usually try to throw 2, and then you knock his hat off. And then in the process of that, you'll be killing other enemies as well. So when you do run up to where I'm going to show you is a really good spot, having that ultra heavy around, you're just not going to make it up. So with everybody else shooting at you, throwing grenades, and then the ultra heavy, there's a guy with the custom over there. So up here is a very good spot. Now you cannot get rushed up here, which is nice, but the area to the left, see how they're flanking us? That is a legitimate area of concern for you while you're doing this, because as you saw, not only did I get flanked by a couple of enemies, but I got flanked by an enemy that could and will instantly kill you. Now, I've had a lot of grenades thrown up on me here sometimes. Other times they're pretty reserved about throwing the grenades. They're not too bad about throwing the grenades. They seem like they want to throw the grenades like when you're in the worst moments, though, like when you're already nearing death and they throw another one. That almost happened to me at one point, and I kind of rolled into safety. So how it works is that you're going to be coming over here, and don't try to go too far over, like near the edge of any of these platforms, because there are some guys with the Barak, and they're really dangerous, like I mentioned. And then near the halfway point of the fight, you're going to get a couple of these heavies that spawn in, and they're using that automatic assault rifle that has a really fast rate of fire, and they're a real nuisance. So they usually like to climb up where they just did a moment ago, over to the right. They mantle up the stairs, and then they're right in front of you, like where they are right now. But they do move around. I'm just saying that they tend to go over there. If you're over here, that is. So you'll need to clear these guys, but you really have to be very conscious of being extremely accurate as much as you possibly can. So if you are having problems about that and you don't mind, you can adjust the aiming help up to 10 if you want to. Mine's still at 5, just to let you know. And it's not too bad, actually. 5 is not bad. But once you do get the guys with the China Lake, it's a good and a bad sign, because it's nice to know that the fight is nearing its end, because those guys signify that it is. And it might just be one. I'm sorry if I said it in a plural, if I pluralized their existence, but they are very dangerous. And if you're like me, you're going to run into the issue of running out of ammunition. Now, I have nearly 40 rounds at this point. I normally have 0, but I use some custom ammunition, and then I used those grenades, so they really helped out. And getting those kills at the beginning was very helpful. Getting those cluster kills and repositioning to get more ammunition is very dangerous. So there's just enemies that come at you from all over. And if you've got a guy shooting a China Lake and, with so many other enemies just kicking around with, being able to finish you off so easily, even with the weakest of weapons, you can get into a jam really fast. So you have to be extremely careful here of not wasting too much ammunition. And feel free to be a little bit more liberal with your usage of the custom here. If you have a custom, it's extremely helpful. And remember, you will be getting refills for it after this. That's what I was talking about. I was nearing the point of death. I was resigned to die there, actually, because I thought that having that much damage and then getting hit by a grenade would kill me. But I think I rolled well enough into that corner and escaped death. So I'm not sure if I have to reposition here. But I had to reposition so many times with never any success that I just made sure that I was accurate. So the fight's finished, and then when it is finished, pat yourself on the back because it's damn difficult. But aside from that, you'll want to go around the room and max out as much as you possibly can, because there's a fight in the next chapter that doesn't have as many enemies as the one that was the fight that we just did, but you're going to need as much ammunition as possible, especially if you're conserving your usage of the custom. And I haven't mentioned this too, but you have to be exceptionally careful when you are using other weapons. If you're momentarily dropping, like say for instance you're just momentarily dropping your custom to pick up another weapon that you're just using as a throwaway weapon, and you have the intention of re-picking up your custom or whatever you have that you want to pick back up, sometimes when the game checkpoints, I've had it so that the custom that I dropped, even though I was in the same location and it checkpointed and I did not reset or anything, it disappeared. It just fell off the face of the whole world, or the game world. It just disappeared. So I lost it, and it was very unfortunate. So you need to really be careful whenever you are picking something else up, and you intend to come back to what you just set down. It might not be there, but that's a rare thing that happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can, of course. And if you are worried about that, just don't drop your weapon. And I know, while you're fighting, it's sometimes necessary that you have to do that because you have no ammunition. But just try to save your grenades in that case, and max out your handgun ammunition as much as possible. Now, I will say that after the fight that we just did, I had gone around the room and I picked up all of the drops, but I was not able to max out my handgun, even though it was like less than 10 away from it. But I was able to max out the custom. So I don't know how many rounds I had at the end of that fight, but there was like 2 to 3 pickups of the custom, and now I am maxed out at 16, which is the max capacity of that weapon. Okay, so that is chapter 18 finished. We'll be going into chapter 19 directly on the other side of this gate, and I will see you there presently. So I hope that this video helped you out with whatever you needed it to, and until we see each other again, please take care.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like Avery built himself a panic cave.
Yeah, I wonder where this goes.
Guess we're gonna find out.